Welcome to this explainer on the Kano model. All right, picture this for a second. You and your team have spent an entire sprint, or maybe even months, grinding away to build what you firmly believe your customers want. You finally push it live and absolute crickets. I mean, zero new engagement. Then, just a few days later, a competitor of yours adds one tiny, seemingly insignificant feature, and their users absolutely lose their minds with excitement. Why does this happen? Well, we're going to break down exactly why you just fell into the basic expectations trap and, more importantly, how to fix it.
Okay, let's dive into this. I want to look right at you and ask a brutally honest, frankly painful question. How many features did your engineering team ship last quarter that your users literally do not care about? Just think about it, because if you don't know the exact answer to that question, you are blindly funding development for features that your users are completely indifferent to.
Section 1. The Feature Factory Trap. It's time to face a fundamental delusion in product management. There is this massive gap between expectation and reality. We all just sort of assume that adding more features automatically equals more satisfaction. It's a trap we all fall into, right? But way back in the 1980s, Professor Noriaki Kano studied why some product improvements created these incredibly loyal fans, while others barely moved the needle. And he discovered a brutal truth that a lot of product teams are still ignoring today. Customer satisfaction is not linear. Doubling a feature's performance simply does not automatically double your user satisfaction. If you don't understand how different features emotionally impact your users, your roadmap is really just a very expensive guessing game.
Section 2. Indifferent and reverse features. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is what happens when you treat all features equally in your backlog. You inevitably end up building things that actively harm your momentum. So let's define our first culprit: indifferent features. These are features that completely waste your engineering effort without moving the satisfaction dial even a single inch. This looks like, building a highly configurable dashboard for a user segment that barely ever logs in, or offering this massive list of customization themes when users really just want a single, clear default. You spent the time and money building it, the customer just shrugged, and it was completely wasted effort.
But guys, it actually gets worse. You might be actively building reverse features. These are things that actually reduce user satisfaction when you add them. When you don't use a framework to categorize that emotional response, you just assume more is always better. But the Kano model proves that more is sometimes just plain annoying. You are quite literally paying your engineers to frustrate your users. Take a look at these examples. We're talking about aggressive UI animations that slow down your power users who just want to get their work done fast, or auto-playing videos inside a B2B product, or extra security prompts that just feel like massive friction without any real perceived benefit to the user. These reverse features are the quiet killers of your team's velocity and focus. They are actively working against your goals. And here is a fun fact to keep in mind, with a bit of a sarcastic edge. Nobody is ever going to throw a party for your team because the app didn't crash today. It's a harsh truth. We really need to stop prioritizing these basic expectations as if they are massive, groundbreaking innovations. Section 3. The Kano shift. So how do we actually fix this guessing game? Well, we use the Kano model. This categorizes your backlog into 3 very specific buckets: must-be features, one-dimensional features, and attractive features. Put simply, you're dividing everything up into what users expect, what they appreciate, and what makes them completely fall in love with your product. So the crucial point is starting with must-be features, or basic expectations. These are your absolute non-negotiables. Missing them causes immediate dissatisfaction, but meeting them doesn't raise satisfaction at all. Think of a banking app that doesn't lose your money, or a sign-up flow that doesn't just crash halfway through. When these work perfectly, no one is thrilled. They just expect it. But if you miss this baseline, dissatisfaction spikes instantly. You don't compete on these things. You just have to meet the bar. Next, we have one-dimensional or performance features. Now, these are your competitive levers where more is better. If you invest in things like faster page load times, better search accuracy, or higher storage limits, satisfaction rises proportionally. Faster and more accurate simply equals happier users. This is where linear investment actually does yield linear returns. Finally, we have attractive features, also known as delighters. These are those strategic wow moments. Users do not expect them, and they won't complain if they're missing. But when they appear, like, say, a tool that auto-imports data from a competitor in just one click, or an app that magically works perfectly offline, satisfaction jumps sharply. But a word of caution here. Your goal is not to just sprinkle these everywhere. You only place delighters where they strongly reinforce your core value proposition. Section 4. the expiration of delight. I need to issue a very clear warning right here about the lifespan of innovation. Listen to this startling reality check. What is a delighter today will become a basic expectation tomorrow. You've got to internalize this. You cannot build a delighter and write it forever. It underscores the absolute importance of continuously tracking how your users' expectations are shifting over time. And this brilliantly illustrates that evolution. Think about it. Mobile banking, two-factor authentication, dark mode. These all started as mind-blowing wow features. And now, they are basic table stakes. If you aren't continually tracking how expectations shift, your former innovation is just today's bare minimum. Section 5. Tactical Kano Execution. Let's move to and see how this builds a tactical foundation. Enough theory, let's transition to action with a step-by-step AI-assisted playbook. This is how your team can finally stop guessing and start building with certainty. There are 3 tactical steps here. Step 1 is the questionnaire. Step 2 is to leverage AI for clarity. And Step 3 is to map the data directly to your roadmap. Let's break these down right now. Step 1 revolves around 2 distinct questions. To get accurate data, you have to ask your users these 2 highly specific things for every single feature idea. First, the functional question. How would you feel if the product had this feature? And second, the dysfunctional question. How would you feel if the product did not have this feature? Users then answer these on a scale from like to dislike. It's this specific pairing of questions that reveals their true emotional response. Step 2, leverage AI. Unclear feature wording is an absolute silent killer for a Kano survey. If users don't understand the feature description, your data is completely useless. So use generative AI to rewrite your complex technical specs into plain, user-friendly language before you survey anyone. You can also use AI to generate conversational variants of those functional and dysfunctional questions, so they don't feel like some stiff academic test. Make it natural and conversational for them to answer. Step 3, mapping the data. Once those responses come in, use AI tools to rapidly classify the pairs into the Kano evaluation table. Then, you follow this strict order of operations for your roadmap. 1. Start by protecting the basics. Fix and stabilize any must-be features that are currently unstable. 2. Tune your performance features where speed or accuracy will meaningfully move user retention. And 3. Only then do you select a tiny handful of attractive features to build real differentiation. Section 6. The Devoted Fans Formula. Okay, let's summarize this entire framework into a single, highly actionable truth that you can take away today. But first, I really want to deliver one final direct challenge to you. I want you to literally look at your roadmap for next quarter. Are you actually prioritizing features that will delight your market, or are you just burning engineering hours building things your customers are completely indifferent to? It's a tough audit, I know, but an absolutely necessary one. Because here is the ultimate formula. Fix must-haves, plus tune performance, plus sprinkle delighters, equals devoted fans. The Kano model proves that customer satisfaction is entirely emotional, not functional. Stop treating every feature request as an equal priority. Use this framework to ruthlessly cut indifferent features, protect your fundamental baseline, and strategically invest in those few unexpected delighters that will turn satisfied customers into absolutely devoted fans. Before we wrap up this explainer, I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below. What was the most useless, indifferent feature you were ever forced to build? Thanks for tuning in and keep building exactly what matters.